everyone. Alejandro, sweet Alejandro. Whatever score you give me, your mom is going to have a talk with you afterward. I'm not a particularly daring person. Daring would never be associated with my name. I don't like to wear shirts that expose my upper arms or take more ibuprofen than it says to on the label. I'm the opposite of daring. I'm careful. More than careful, I'm anxiety-ridden. When I have to make a decision, I look at it from every angle until ultimately I decide to just not. But I'm going to tell you about the most daring thing and probably the worst mistake I ever made, which was to move to Vermont from Scranton, PA when I was like 18, 19 years old with my boyfriend at the time. We lived up there together. It was rough. It was the coldest, snowiest winter on record in Vermont, which since the 70s, which is really fucking cold and snowy. And we were having a hard time. We were fighting a lot. It was really bad. And I was a kid though, and he was like my first love, so I like really desperately wanted it to work out. And on a drive that we took from Vermont back to Scranton, that's where our story unfolds. For about the first hour of the drive, it was totally silent. We were not speaking, we did not have music on. And I was like, do you mind if I put on some music of mine? And he was like, no. And then he put on Kenny Chesney, which is a hate crime. He did a hate crime to me. And eventually we get to this stretch of I-87, which is the opposite of Route 66. It's a lot of like industrial parks and Sunoco's, and other than that, it's just nothing. No cars, nothing to look at. I was getting very bored and tired and sad and kind of angry. And I made a daring choice. I decided that I would give him a hand job. And so I looked over at him, and at this point, Brad Paisley is playing. But we have a busted window with a garbage bag taped over it, so mercifully, you can't hear what Brad Paisley is singing. But it's very cold. Again, it's the middle of winter. And I kind of started stroking his leg, and I was like, do you mind if is it all right if I? And he was like, yeah, sure. Which is a fun response to the offer of a particularly demeaning sexual favor. And in order to make this work, there's a lot of clumsy choreography. I have to kind of bend over the center console, which is elevated. So I'm in a banana shape. My organs are compromised. But I'm still wearing my seatbelt, because safety first. But I don't think Ralph Nader had this in mind when he invented the seatbelt. But as I kind of unzipped his pants to reveal his disappointed penis, he said to me, dude, it's very cold. So I took off the sweatshirt I was wearing, kind of draped it over his crotchular region, and I, started going to town. And as I'm doing this, the seatbelt is digging into my side, creating a gash down my ribs, and I'm sweating. And not like this is fun, sexy sweating. I'm like, this is hard work and I don't want to be doing this anymore sweating. And as soon as I start sweating, the sweat is freezing to my hair. And as he's kind of getting more into it, I'm getting in worse shape. I look like Jack Nicholson at the end of The Shining, just bloody and frozen. And eventually he finishes. And I'm like, thank God. This is a thing. This is a little victory. But as soon as he does, he takes his sweatshirt, my sweatshirt, cleans himself up, throws it in the trunk of the car, and we have about 4 hours left in our drive in like 15-degree weather with the window open. So this choice that I made, this daring decision that I went down, resulted in a gash down my side and a touch of exposure. Because the person that I loved more than anything, that my like 19-year-old self thought couldn't live without, he cared more, he cared so little about my life that he used my only source of warmth in this dark winter as a cum rag. I dare you to come up with a sadder ending than that. Thank you, guys.